didn't. So what is this? This is Homey, and the idea of Homey is that you're supposed to be able to put all of your existing smart home hubs in the bin. This is supposed to be able to control every device you could possibly think of because it's got a whole bunch of transmitters up here in its brain. It's got RF transmitters for controlling cheap plug sockets and light switches. It's got a Bluetooth transmitter in it for controlling Bluetooth devices. It's got a Wi-Fi transmitter in it for controlling Wi-Fi devices. And it's got Zigbee and Z-Wave in it for controlling Zigbee and Z-Wave devices. That's a lot of devices. 50,000 apparently. Before we get into the nitty-gritty of this thing, I am not here to serve the people that made this, and I'm not here to serve the fanboys that love this. I'm here to tell you the good and the bad. If you give me grief in the comments section because I told you the truth about this thing, I will call you an idiot, in capital letters. Go have a look in the comments. There's me probably calling people an idiot in capital letters. RF plug socket. RF remote. RF remote controls RF plug socket. RF plug socket is not a smart home device, it is dumb as balls. The consequence is that if you want to be able to control this plug socket with she that should not be named, you need something to pretend to be this remote in the middle that is a smart home device, and that's where this comes in. This is a Broadlink RM Pro, and I have made a million videos on it because it is brilliant. It is only £30. This is not only £30, it's quite a lot more money. So you would think that this thing would allow me to put this thing in the bin by doing all the same things that it does. It does not. This thing already has a whole bunch of RF remotes programmed into its database, so you can simply choose your remote using their application. But this is the clever part. If you can't find your RF remote, like this one, I can simply teach this RF remote to my Broadlink RM Pro, and from then on, it will repeat the frequency. Brilliant. This thing has a large database of RF remotes. That's it. I can't teach it my RF remote, I can only select it from a database, which means that if this RF remote is not in their database, I'm stuck. Guess what? This remote is not in their database. So I contacted Homey and said, that's weird, this thing costs a lot less money, so how come I can't teach it to that? And they said, oh yes, that's on purpose. What? So I said, why is that on purpose? And they said, well, we thought it would be really frustrating if customers tried to teach this to that, and couldn't. So we thought we'd just make it impossible in the first place. I don't see the logic. What you might find frustrating is if you already have a bunch of RF remotes, they're probably not already in the database. The top 10 current selling Amazon RF plug sockets, not a single one of them is in there, which is very sad. But this brings me on to the next very important pro. It can control this! That is the best news ever. I have never yet seen a smart home hub that could talk directly from it to this. This thing always has needed a Raspberry Pi in between or an Android device, and that alone is a really good reason to consider getting a Homey hub, because it means that you can put all of the devices from this and all of your Zigbee and Z-Wave devices from this into the same dashboard and advertise them to she that should not be named, all from one device without any messing around, and it's so easy to do, it's ridiculous. But it can control Zigbee and Z-Wave devices natively, can't it? So, I can throw away my Philips Hue hub, and I can throw away my Samsung SmartThings hub, can't I? No, I cannot. We have the same problem here. They've decided that it is a database that you must select your devices from, and if you're not on the list, it either won't work or it won't work properly. So, this Xiaomi button, for example, works great. It's on the list. It will recognize single click, double click, triple click, quadruple click, and hold, and I can use that to trigger all sorts of things so easily, it's ridiculous. And I don't say this lightly, it is better than the Hubitat in that regard. If you have a Xiaomi hub, you can throw your Xiaomi hub away. That's brilliant. The reason I can't throw away this thing is because, not that it can't control Philips Hue's lights, because it can, as long as you have a Philips Hue dimmer to reset the bulbs, which I don't. So that's the first annoyance, but more importantly, This thing, right, will listen to these semi-smart door sensors. It won't. It doesn't know what they are. If I train it with them, it goes, okay, yeah, that's great. I know what that is. Do you want to turn them on or off? That's a door sensor. I can't turn it on or off. So that's it. The same thing is true of my LED strip out the front. That is a cheap Chinese Zigbee 3.0 device that can be controlled by this and can be controlled by that. If I pair it to this, it's stuck on red forever because do you want to turn it on or off? I want to make it white. A lot of you came here today because you wanted to know whether you should get a Hubitat or a Homey because they are the two competing devices at the moment if you want to take things that step further. The Hubitat review is here, but don't leave yet because I'm about to confuse matters and tell you that about 60% of you should probably get the Homey. The Homey Hub has the Hubitat beat in several key areas. The first one is... well, look at it. It's flipping gorgeous. The second one is, it's so easy to use, it's ridiculous. If you're an iPhone user, you're probably going to want to get this because it does what it says on the tin, and all you've got to do to make it work is go through what they call flows. The flows are basically automation tasks where if I do this, make that happen. Or if I do this and this, make this happen instead. Or make all of these things happen. That's really, really easy to do. This thing will do more. You could do more complicated things, but harder to understand. If you're a total nerd, you're probably going to want one of these. If you're not a total nerd and you just want to do some simple automation tasks, this thing has it beat. Just like Hubitat, Homey works brilliantly with She That Should Not Be Named, works great with If This Then That, but here's where they've got one apiece. Homey works with Apple Homekit. Apple Homekit! And really, really well too. If you're an Apple user, this is the device for you because it will connect you directly to things like this and other cheap devices. This is big news. It is super important that you understand this. If you're an Apple user, get a Homey. If you're not an Apple user, Hubitat has it beat for Google Home, for example. Google Home for Homey is seriously ugly. You have to say, okay Google, ask Homey. If you're a Google Home user, right now, I can't recommend this device. Check the description in case that has changed because inevitably they will solve this, and when they do, I will update the description to that effect, and things will be different then. Let's sum it up. The summary is fairly simple. If you're a total nerd, you'll probably want the Hubitat. If you want something straightforward that's going to work very easily, then you'll probably want the Homey. If you want to be able to control third-party Zigbee devices from China, you're going to need the Hubitat. If you're an Apple user, you're probably going to want the Homey. The final consideration is, of course, price, and this is quite a big deal. The Homey is like £200, I think, around that. Check the description. The Hubitat is more around the £100 mark, so you're actually paying double the price because it's got all those antennas in it. It will work with more things, but it depends if you're on the list. You're going to want to check that list before you buy the Homey, and again, in the description there is a link where you can search out your devices and see if they'll all work. If they'll all work, maybe you want to pay the £200. If they won't all work, get a Hubitat. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see some more of this guy, hit that subscribe button. Come hang out with me at these places, Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff. And if you want to help make these videos a possibility, like these amazing people here, and God, do I love them, you can come and be one of those people at either Patreon or PayPal, and I'll see you next time. That's just the nature of home automation. It replaces all of your smart home. If you bash me in the comments because I said bad things about this, then you're an idiot, and I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. You're an idiot. This is the big pro here, and I'm gonna start again. Can I start again? A metric button. This is the dance of the robot.